And now, time permitting, happy to answer a few questions. Judge. Great question. And with judicial brevity, the full text of the question was the internet, which communicated every single thing. So we are in the midst of a big battle right now in Congress over the internet. And let me take a little bit to explain the background of the issue, because it can seem a little complicated, but at the end of the day, it's profoundly important. The United States invented the internet. Much of it was with taxpayer funding, the early foundations of the internet, and it's transformed the world. It has transformed how we do commerce, it's transformed how we communicate, it's transformed how we live our lives. If you have a crazy, meaningless question about a celebrity at 2 a.m. on a Thursday, you can pull out your phone and within seconds know the answer to it. It's really changed how bar bets come out. Now, the basic plumbing of the internet. Right now, there is a group, a nonprofit based in California called ICANN, that is in charge of helping administer the plumbing of the internet, helping administer top-level domain names, .com, .org, .net, .mil, .gov. It does so on a contract with the United States government, the U.S. Commerce Department. As a result, the way the internet is run right now, America is the only country on earth that has the First Amendment to our Constitution, that has the robust free speech protections we have. And so the internet today is free from censorship. You do not have the domain name registrars censoring, is what you say acceptable? Is what you say permissible? Instead, as a public service to this country and the world, we have maintained the internet as a free speech zone, free of censorship, free of control, where people can speak their heart's content. The Obama administration has announced its intent to allow the contract with ICANN to expire, to end the federal government's oversight of the basic plumbing and infrastructure of the internet. And the consequence of that, they want to transfer it instead to what's called a multinational community of stakeholders, which just hearing that phrase ought to scare the living daylights out of you. But it is essentially a mini UN where every country gets an equal vote, which means our standing will then become the same as Russia and China and Iran. Countries that are avowed enemies of free speech on the internet. And what the Obama administration is proposing doing is handing over this power to ICANN. We had a hearing that I chaired this week on this issue where the administration's testimony was essentially, trust us. They said, you should trust the international community of stakeholders. Now, I said, first of all, listen, tech companies, they're wonderful. God bless them. But do you think they've been good and effective stewards of free speech to date? You look at a number of huge tech companies that have agreed with the European Union to censor so-called hate speech within 24 hours, to take it down if it's deemed offensive. Tech companies have already agreed to do that. That's good business. You want to do business in China? Guess what? The big tech companies cooperate with China in censoring the internet. So imagine if you're at home and you type in a search and suddenly you get a warning that comes up, this search is not allowed. Now in China, that might be accompanied with police knocking on your door to take you away. And handing this over to a handful of giant corporations, none of those corporations are bound by the First Amendment. None of those corporations, they have financial incentives to maximize their profits. That's great, but I'm not willing to trust them with your and my freedom. It is only the United States of America that is bound by and respects the First Amendment. Indeed, the CEO of ICANN, when I asked him very directly, I said, are you bound by the First Amendment? He said, no. We're having a fight right now in Congress over whether to prevent Obama from handing this over. Existing legislative language and existing rider prohibits the transfer of the internet. The administration's position is that prohibition expires on September 30th. And so right now I've been leading the effort, working with a number of senators, both Republicans and Democrats, and working in the House as well, to try to stop that from happening. I don't know if Congress is going to do it or not. I hope that we do. I think it is critically important because the administration wants to jam this through on September 30th under the view that the next president can unscramble the eggs. That once it's given over, it can't come back. And indeed, one of the things we talked about the hearing that was particularly troubling was the question about whether ICANN would then flee U.S. jurisdiction and move to Europe. And we were told very comfortingly, well, its bylaws don't allow that. My response, I said, it's been a while since I've taken corporations law, but am I right on this that the bylaws can be changed at any time? Well, yes, but trust us, we don't intend to do that. I put up a poster board of testimony from the former head of ICANN, who told the Senate of France that they were studying creating a parallel organization in Switzerland for ICANN. When I asked the current CEO of ICANN, what was your predecessor talking about? Oh, I have no idea. And so this is a fight that I think preserving our institutions that preserve our freedom matters, and it's something that I'm devoting a lot of time and energy to right now.